This is the Bono Bibi Palagan, a ritual performed for centuries in the Sundarbans. Before venturing into the forest to collect honey and other resources, locals invoke Bono Bibi, the goddess of the forest, seeking her protection. But today, rising water levels threaten not just this tradition, but the very existence of life on these islands. Hello and welcome to The Hindu. I'm Priyali Prakash and you're watching Tipping Point. Today, I'm in Delhi, the city of migrants. People leave their homes behind and arrive here for one or the other reason. To find a better job, for safety, or even just survival. And now, there's another factor that is pushing people to move, and that is climate change. To see the full effect of this, we head to the Sunderbans, which is one of the worst climate change hit regions of India. This is where the world's largest mangrove forest grows, spread over India and Bangladesh, and where the Ganga, Brahmaputra and Meghna rivers meet the Bay of Bengal. Here, lives are being reshaped by nature itself. Spanning roughly 10,000 square kilometers between India and Bangladesh, the Sundarbans are home to millions of people who have depended on these rivers and forests for generations. In India, the Sundarbans are part of the South 24 Parganas district in West Bengal. The rivers here are the lifeline of these islands. They provide fish, prawns, and crabs that feed the locals and also generate income. They connect remote islands to one another. But these same rivers are now threatening the existence of the people of Sundarbans, forcing many to migrate. To understand what migration to and from the Sundarbans actually means, we spoke to Tuhin Ghosh, who is a professor at Jadavpur University in Kolkata.
From our research, actually, we found that the migration started around 1961 from Sundarban. But if you think about the people here, they migrated from other places to Sundarban. So that is their second phase of migration, in true sense. And this migration was very limited earlier time. But the Aila 2009 cyclone, which made some havoc impact in the delta, that is the triggering point of mass migration. And this migration actually disintegrating the social bonding, social system. Whenever the migrant people are getting more and more money out of that, the neighbors are become a little bit jealous. And sometimes the migrant family is a little bit scared that they will ask for some loan or something like that. So this kind of disintegration is observed. And also their lifestyle is changing a lot. And in our study also we found that the migrants, they are putting more expenditure on the luxury items like motorbike, television, mobile phones, all these things, or sound system kind of thing. Wherever the non-migrants, they are actually make their expenditure on the housing or some adaptation equipments like a better boat, better other kind of equipments which is useful for their survival here.
In the last 2 decades, cyclonic activity in the Bay of Bengal has increased dramatically. Cyclones like Aila, Bulbul, Amphan, Yash, and recently Remal have repeatedly breached embankments, causing massive damage to homes and flooding agricultural fields.
5 years पहले से मैक्सिमम इरोशन स्टार्ट हो गया था हमारा जहाँ पे घर है कुमिरमारी बागना पाड़ा में तो हमारा पूरा जो फैमिली का जो कल्टीवेटेड लैंड था वो पूरा का पूरा चला गया एंड आइला का टाइम ज़्यादा गया फिर आम्फान में गया फिर याश में पूरा घर चला गया.
Studies show that surface water temperatures in the Sundarbans have risen significantly, in sync with the global sea surface temperature increases. Back in 2009, scientists documented that water temperatures here were rising at 0.5 degrees Celsius per decade. We are now in 2025, so you can imagine the extent of this problem. While research on the exact connection between tropical storm frequency and rising temperatures continues, scientists know this. Warmer temperatures mean more evaporation, which makes rainfall and storms worse. But cyclones don't just destroy homes. They carry salty seawater into the rivers and ponds of the Sundarbans, increasing salinity levels. More evaporation due to higher temperature concentrates that salt even further.
अम्फान बहुत सारे लोगों को जो मुसीबत में कर दिया। जो आइला है, आइला तो पानी तो उठ गया, और अम्फान जो है ना वो पूरा का पूरा एग्रीकल्चर को खत्म करके चला गया। आइला मिट्टी खराब कर दिया और अम्फान मिट्टी उनके साथ पूरे एग्रीकल्चर पूरा ट्रीज खराब कर दिया। जो सुंदरबन को रक्षा करते हैं मैनग्रोव बड़ा बड़ा ट्रीज वो भी खत्म कर दिया। अगर मेरा घर नहीं है तो हम रहते कहाँ हैं? मेरा घर है, घर के सब कुछ है तो हम रह सकते हैं। अगर घर भी उड़ के चला गया तो हम कहाँ रहते? यही अम्फान है। अम्फान बहुत सारे पूर्व साउथ 24 परगना बहुत सारे लोग वही अम्फान के बाद भी और बहुत सारे लोग भी चला गया।
This affects the growth of crops in the area and how much fish and other catch are available for locals to collect in the water bodies. You cannot drink or farm with salty water. The people of Sundarbans have depended on these rivers to fulfill their water needs for ages, and these changes threaten life in unimaginable ways.
So for last 3 decades, actually, agriculture is becoming a kind of lost business. So it's due to the uncertainty in the climate system, mainly the rainfall, untimely rainfall, and also waterlogging, consequent waterlogging. Sometimes the embankment breaches, and then there is saltwater intrusion in the agriculture field, especially after the great cyclones. And also there are some kind of market forces playing behind that. There's no selling capacity of the extra produce, and the labor cost, fertilizer cost, pesticide cost is very, very high. So they don't want to make a loss, but they cultivate for their own subsistence only.
People from the Sundarbans mostly collect shrimp, crabs and fish from the water and sell it to make a living. But as the sea temperatures rise, their availability is reducing. Locals and researchers told us that the catch that previously took, say, 6 hours to collect now takes anywhere between 12 and 13 hours. Over the years, this reduction has also pushed fishermen to move towards previously underexplored waters in the buffer and core zones of the Sundarbans Tiger Reserve. The result? An increase in the number of tiger attacks on humans and in human-wildlife conflict cases in general. And there's more. Global warming causes polar ice caps and glaciers to melt, raising sea levels worldwide. For an entirely coastal community like the Sundarbans, this threat is immediate and visible.
जैसे क्लाइमेट चेंज माइग्रेंट तो हम लोग है, बिकॉज वहाँ पे देखिए हमारा पूरा मेरा जन्म है, मेरा एल्डर ब्रदर का जन्म इधर हुआ, मेरा पिताजी का जन्म कुमीरमारी में ही हुआ, लेकिन कुमीरमारी से इधर आना पड़ेगा वो क्लाइमेट चेंज का। देखिए हम लोग तो पढ़ाई लिखाई लोग है, वो तो हमारे पास क्लाइमेट चेंज एक बिग टॉपिक से बिग सब्जेक्ट है, लेकिन गांव का जो आम आदमी है उनके लिए एक बंगाली में एक लैंग्वेज यहाँ पे चलता है जलवायु परिवर्तन, तो ये सभी को पता है इधर का। इसीलिए देखिए गांव का सभी लोग अभी मैंग्रोव लगा रहे, ट्री प्लांटेशन कर रहे, फ्रूट्स का ट्री प्लांटेशन कर रहे हैं। ट्रीज चाहिए, सेफ ट्रीज फॉर पोल्यूशन रुकने के लिए और सुंदरबन का रक्षा करने के लिए तो मैंग्रोव चाहिए और भी ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा ट्रीज चाहिए। तो देखिए ये जो क्लाइमेट चेंज ये सब अब 2009 से हमारा ध्यान में आया, दिस टाइम आइला हुआ, बिकॉज आइला नॉट ए बिग साइक्लोन बट पूरा का रिवर का जो पानी का लेवल वो बहुत बढ़ गया था। तो इतना अंदाजा नहीं था उस समय, जो प्रशासन था, जो गवर्नमेंट था, जो पंचायत था, उनका कोई ट्रैक पुराना कोई ट्रैक भी नहीं था जो पानी का लेवल उतना ऊपर तक जा सकते। लेकिन उस टाइम आइला का टाइम पानी का लेवल बहुत बढ़ गया, इसीलिए पूरा का पूरा सब आइलैंड फ्लैट हो गया था। तब पता चला जे कुछ ना कुछ तो प्रॉब्लम है। तब साइंटिस्ट लोग आ रहे, रिसर्चर लोग आ रहे, उन उनका मुंह से क्लाइमेट चेंज शब्द सुना, और गांव का आम आदमी जो पढ़ाई लिखाई नहीं जानते हैं उनके पास जलवायु परिवर्तन।
These changes are forcing the locals of Sundarbans to leave their homes and look for jobs elsewhere. While migration out of the Sundarbans mostly seems seasonal, it is driven by a mix of complex factors. And it's mostly men who leave their homes to look for alternate employment, while the women stay back to care for the children and the elderly and bear the brunt of the changing landscape. They collect shrimp, fish, and crabs to make a living, but standing in salty water for hours can cause skin diseases. Medical research also shows that it increases pregnancy risks, including eclampsia and preeclampsia. Some studies suggest that salinity can even disrupt menstrual cycles. The overall population faces challenges like hypertension and increased risk of cardiovascular diseases due to increased salt intake. But this is also influenced by other factors in combination like diet. Health losses often go unrecognized when we talk about the effects of climate change on people, since they can't exactly be quantified in monetary terms, but they are profound in terms of how they impact people. The rising salinity also threatens the mangroves themselves, which forms the crux of this unique ecosystem. These trees thrive where seawater meets fresh water, and disrupting this balance threatens the very ecosystem that protects coastal communities from cyclones and tidal surges. What do the people want? Despite all the hardships, people don't really want to leave the Sundarbans permanently. That's mostly because the cost of living here is cheap.
Yeah, if you see the growth rate of Sundarban is much higher than the growth rate of the state of West Bengal and also the allied districts, south and north Parganas. Probably this is due to the low living cost and also property for the commons. So nobody is telling you or protecting you from that going to the river or something like that for fishing or something like that. So it's a kind of free access of the forest area and also the riverine system. And that's why people prefer to stay over here. Besides that, I think there is strong pull factor from the local community who are basically not from Sundarban, who are from Medinipur or Orissa or from Bangladesh. So they prefer to pull their relatives and neighbors and friends here also.
People ideally move out to work and collect money, then come back and build a house and a farm or collect fish here.
कोई वापस तो आता है, तो इतने सारे पैसा तो वहाँ पे इकट्ठा करके जमीन तो नहीं खरीद सकते, वापस तो आते हैं। अगर जब वापस आते हैं वहीं पे कोई अगर जो बहुत सारे पैसा जमा लिया वो यहाँ पे एक छोटा मोटा दुकान करके बैठ जाता है और छोटा मोटा बिजनेस करके बैठ जाता है।
But that does not mean that the threats arising from global warming and changing nature of water bodies vanish. To that effect, they want embankments that hold the water out during surges. The network of embankments across Sundarban Islands is around 3,000 kilometers, which repeatedly gets breached in many places as water level rises or due to storms or rainfall.
देखिए, फर्स्टली आपका नदी बांध जो एम्बैंकमेंट वो अच्छा से होना चाहिए, और अभी कुछ प्लेस में कंक्रीट बांध भी है। कंक्रीट मीन्स पक्का बांध भी है, ब्रिक्स का पिचिंग है, ये सब है। लेकिन देखिए, सॉइल इरोशन ऐसा एक पार्ट है। बांध जितना मजबूती हो, अगर सॉइल नीचे से गिर गया तो नीचे से सॉइल इरोशन हो रहा है तो ऊपर का बांध गिरना पॉसिबिलिटी मैक्सिमम पॉसिबिलिटी है।
But just building embankments doesn't work. As Sanjay Mondal pointed out, erosion from underneath them is a big problem. Others believe that the construction without proper planning will not stay put.
बांध जिंदे भी दो, ऐसे नहीं होगा। उसके लिए जो परिकल्पना है, जो सिस्टम्स है, वो पहले करना होगा। एक बांध है, नदी का एक बांध है, अरे नूना जल है ना, ये बहुत इसको खाड़ होता है। ये जितना सीमेंट दो, जितना जो बोल्डर दो, जितना है दो, ठीक से अगर नहीं किया ना, वो तोड़ फोड़ के फिर चला है। उसके लिए हमारा सरकार में बड़ा बड़ा जो कंपनीज है, बड़ा बड़ा जो ये जो बनाता है उसके साथ मीटिंग करना होगा। मीटिंग करके वो खुद आके यार देखना होगा कि क्या क्या करने से क्या होगा। अगर वो नहीं किया, अगर छोटा मोटा बात करके हम लगा दिया, वो एक साल में बारिश होगा, वो सब वो पूरा का पूरा चला जाएगा।
Because this is a fragile zone, any solutions here must also utilize traditional knowledge.
Yeah, if you think about that, the embankments are most important for the people whenever you will interview them. And the embankments usually are constructed by the local people with traditional equipments like shovel. So they have some kind of specific dimension of the market. But nowadays we have used the JCB and all these things, which is not suitable for this kind of embankment construction. So we need to change our practice. That traditional practice maybe it may be replaced by the mechanized shovel rather than the JCB. So this is the most important thing, and that way actually we are destroying the system with more modernization but less innovation.
There's another problem here that ties into the embankment demand, and that's the friction between the central and the state government over the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme in West Bengal. This scheme guarantees at least 100 days of wages for unskilled manual work in rural areas. However, it has been stopped in West Bengal since December 2021. The Hindu has previously reported how shutting this scheme has also caused the embankment repair funds to dry up.
जितना काम है, सरकारी काम है, वो तो बंद हो चुका है। 100 दिन का, 100 दिन का जो काम है, वो बंद हो गया है। तो कुछ योजना था, वो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का, वो बंद हो चुका है। तो लोग क्या करें?
This emotion was echoed by the members of the Lahiripur village panchayat, who said that stopping central government funds under the Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme has been one of the biggest financial challenges for the region, which is already struggling with lack of employment opportunities. Local authorities said that their MP has raised the issue of embankments in Parliament, but no relevant action on it has been taken yet.
पंचायत से हम लोग जो हमारा पंचायत समिति, पंचायत, जिला परिषद सब एक साथ बैठ के हम लोग सब मीटिंग किया है। मीटिंग करके उसका रेजोल्यूशन हुआ। वो रेजोल्यूशन हमारा एमपी तक पहुंच गया। एमपी वो लेके लोकसभा जो स्पीकर है, लोकसभा में जो अधिवेशन होता है वहाँ पर ही दिया, फिर भी कोई काम नहीं हुआ।
The locals also want better healthcare and education facilities in the Sundarbans. We visited a primary healthcare center in one of the villages on an island and found out that the health workers are struggling to do their jobs with minimal resources. They have come up with a temporary solution to keep vaccines cold when power goes out by putting them in a pitcher. This saves the vaccines while the electricity issues are fixed. They have been provided batteries, but those aren't enough to keep the deep fridge and the cold box running.
मेडिकल प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा है। मिनिमम फैसिलिटीज़ अगर लेना पड़ेगा आपका मेडिकल, सो आपका जाना पड़ेगा नियर अबाउट 45 किलोमीटर, एंड 45 किलोमीटर का अंदर एक रिवर है। तो अगर रात में कुछ प्रॉब्लम होगा तो रिवर क्या है, रिवर में तो नहीं जा पाऊंगा बिकॉज फेरी बंद है उस टाइम। तो ये सब प्रॉब्लम है, तो इसीलिए मेडिकल फैसिलिटीज़ होना चाहिए।
A 14-year-old student we spoke to at the high school in Rajat Jubilee village told us that she would like to go to college on her island itself, unlike her 21-year-old sister who lives away from home to pursue an undergraduate degree in history because there are no colleges in their village. Schools in Sunderbans also double up as shelters when storms hit. While the government is building some cyclone shelters, at this point, they are not enough for the safety of locals. But using schools as shelters also means that the students miss out on their studies, which can at times last for weeks. Teachers at the high school in Rajat Jubilee village said that they hold remedial classes for students to help them catch up with their coursework, but this just depends on the teachers' goodwill.
ये बहुत ही प्रॉब्लम, बिकॉज इतना सारा फैमिलीज इधर है और साइक्लोन का टाइम सभी लोगों का पास इतना अच्छा मजबूती घर उनका पास नहीं है। तो स्कूल बिल्डिंग मजबूत है और ऊंचे भी है, अभी अभी गवर्नमेंट ने बनाया साइक्लोन शेल्टर, बट नॉट सफिशिएंट। अगर साइक्लोन अगर आता है व फ्लड अगर आता है तो सफिशिएंट नहीं है, वो आपका सभी लोग एक ही साथ वो एकोमोडेट नहीं होगा। तो इसीलिए देखिए वो उस टाइम जस्ट लाइफ तो सेव हो गया साइक्लोन का टाइम में।
For a lot of residents of Sundarbans who can barely manage to arrange 2 meals a day, educating their children is also not a top priority. Some government schemes like the midday meals and allowances for girls have managed to attract students to enroll in local schools, but children also double up as additional labor for parents who decide to migrate out of the Sundarbans in search for work.
मैं एक परिवार से पूछा हूँ, जो आपके बच्चे लोग हैं, आपकी जो लड़की लोग हैं, जो आपने एजुकेशन नहीं दिया, तो वो बड़ा हो के क्या करेंगे? बोला मैं खुद खा नहीं सकता, मैं मेरे बच्चे को क्या एजुकेशन दूँ? वो जो लड़के लोग के साथ लड़की लोग ज़्यादा स्कूल जाता है, तो इसलिए मिड डे मील चालू कर दिया है, जाते जिसलिए वो लड़की लोग आए एजुकेशन लिए, मगर वही प्रॉब्लम्स है, फैमिली प्रॉब्लम्स। उनका मेंटालिटी जो मेरा पास मेरा काम धाम नहीं है, तो चलो फैमिली लेके चेन्नई वहाँ पे जाके सब मिल के काम करेंगे, बहुत पैसा होगा। फिर आते हैं, फिर एक छोटा मोटा दुकान करके फिर बिजनेस से बैठ जाता है।
The contribution of Sundarbans to global carbon emissions is negligible, and yet its people face extreme disproportionate effects of global warming. It just doesn't threaten the fragile ecosystem, it changes the essence of life in this area. Solutions rooted in traditional practices, coupled with scientific knowledge, can be a way to move forward, but that only works when resources and political will are available and aligned. That's all from this week's episode of Tipping Point. If you found this discussion insightful, please subscribe to The Hindu.